chakra. The heart chakra is not only a chakra, but it is also a subtle organ in the body. Here's a book called Theosophia by Arthur verse Lewis. This is what the Pope and all of them worship. This is the true meaning behind the papacy. If you look on the back of the book, you will see a little heart.
Yeah, I see it.
With an eye in the middle.
Let me get it. I got it.
See it?
Yeah.
The heart with the eye in the middle. You see? Now,
what's that significant of?
it's the heart chakra. Let's deal, but it's also the all-seeing eye.
Right.
So we're also talking about consciousness. Now, yesterday, I did a lecture yesterday, and in the lecture, I explained in this particular book, this is a book called Kundalini Evolution and Enlightenment, edited by John White. And I showed this particular diagram of how consciousness rises up from the base, from the genital area, the navel area, and the heart area. You don't even become conscious until you hit the heart chakra.
Wow.
You see. So it is, you can see why the eye, let me draw this out, but it's also the all, you know, shoot. Me being an artist, at least I can do is draw it out. You know. And draw it out at least. And where it has the eye, I'll put the eye of Heru in it for the people. But here's the heart. This is the heart, as it says, it shows here, and there's an eye in the middle. You see. So this diagram here, this is where the consciousness flows. So in so many words, you don't even become conscious until it hits the heart chakra.
Okay.
That's why most people, consciousness is down here in the genital area, which is called the animal car. There's the animal car, that is the inferior car, and then there's the divine car, which starts from the heart chakra on up into the third eye, the pineal gland, and pituitary gland, the hypothalamus region of the brain. So this is called the inferior car. This is called this is called the animal car. Then the inferior car that would reach from the middle of the genitals into the navel. And that's where most people are. And then what is called the divine car.
Having compassion for all things. But this chakra is also about transformation and change. And if you had any transformation and change in your life, which we all have had to whatever degree, whether it be small or big, you might have noticed that if you tried to kind of buck up against that change, it makes for a really difficult period in time. But if you kind of come to it with compassion, not just for yourself, but compassion about whatever the circumstances may be, that shift happens a lot. It's a smoother transition. So also think of transformation and change when you think about the heart chakra. It is about love, but it's not just about relationships, and it's not just about the self. It's also about love and understanding for the connection to all things in the universe. So kind of think about that too when you're thinking about this chakra. Another point that I want to bring up is that our heart emits way more electricity and magnetism than our brain does. And that kind of makes sense when you think about, has there been a time where you've tried to neglect your emotions, kind of not go in the direction of your heart and try to approach everything from a very logical standpoint, and you feel like you're constantly coming up against walls and roadblocks? But then there may have been another time in your life where you followed your heart And it may not have made sense to other people, may not have made sense to you at the time what you were doing, but when you did, suddenly everything fell into place. Well, that's because when we're following our heart, it's pulling in more of that energy. And so if we just flow along with it as opposed to trying to repel it and go in the other direction, then life kind of flows a little bit easier, right? So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind, that our heart produces way more electricity and magnetism than our mind.
You're always finding yourself in these relationships that you're giving more than the other person because you need to work on your heart chakra right now. Here's 3 tips to help you work on your heart chakra. Tap the link in the bio for one of these, or if you want one of these. Tip number 1, overgiving will often balance itself out if you're making sure that you're giving something to yourself, some act of self-care to yourself before you begin to help someone else in their life. Tip number 2, the health of your heart chakra is tied directly to the strength of your lungs. So what you should be doing if you're trying to strengthen your heart chakra is to practice deep breathing exercises. Your cardio is tied directly to your heart chakra. I'm talking about your cardiovascular health as a whole, not just the exercise. And tip number 3, this may not be easy, but you need to find out how to be grateful for all of the hardships that you've gone through and all of the hardships that you're currently going through. Find out how to feel grateful in the present moment when you think of the hardships. If someone gave you a gift, would you rather it be the copper, the silver, or the gold? Which one?